get this. On average, women and men speak around 16,000 words each and every day. For the most part, our mundane mutterings fall on deaf ears, right? But what about our little ones?
Today on Parent Trap, we're looking at whether you can scar your children just by what you say. Oh, what a horrible thought.
Here to reveal the things mums and dads should never ever say to their kids, parenting expert Dr. Justin Coulson. Justin, lovely to see you again. Let's get stuck into this. Now, most parents tell their kids to calm down. We've all done that. Why is it so bad?
Does it ever work? Would you just calm down? Has anyone ever said, any child, like, you say it to a 3-year-old, have they ever looked at you and said, you know, that's a good point, I'm overreacting. I need to chill out. You're
Actually, even on adults as well, Justin, it doesn't work, doesn't it? What should we say instead? You've got a situation that's escalating, what should you say?
Yeah, I think it's much more helpful to say something like, wow, you're so upset. Wow, this is really distressing for you. What we're doing here is we're validating. We're letting them know that we can see how they're feeling. Calm down just dismisses their emotions and makes them feel like there's something the matter with them. Whereas when we validate, we're not saying that it's okay, by the way, but we say, wow, you're so upset about this. And they feel relaxed. If you can name it, you can tame it.
Ooh. Let's talk about praise. Now, saying things like, you're so clever. That should be avoided. Why?
Well, this is one of those controversial ones because people say, well, you're supposed to pump up your kids' tyres, you're supposed to make them feel good about themselves. But unfortunately, research shows that when we praise our kids, especially when we tell them how smart they are, or maybe they've been in the back seat of the car and you turn around and you look at them and you smile and you say, you're being such a good sister, and 5 seconds later they've bit or scratched or punched their sibling. What happens with praise is it seems to actually put them into this mindset that leads to ineffective behaviour. Sometimes praise they infer low ability to themselves. So, well, if you're praising me, then I mustn't be good at it at all.
What should you say instead?
Yeah, instead of praising them and saying, wow, you're so clever, what we want to do is get them praising themselves. So we want to say, well, how did you feel when you got that A? Or how did it feel when you were kind to your sister? Or how does it feel when you walk into that bedroom and it's tidy because you've been doing all that work? And so what we're doing instead is we're getting them to sort of go, huh, yeah, this is how it feels, this is what I did. I got an A on that test, and the reason that I got the A was because I worked really hard, it felt good. And then we can praise them afterwards because they've done all their praising.
Okay.
So it's still, afterwards it's okay to go, well, that was really good, I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you, and it feels so good, doesn't it?
Okay,
yeah.
Now let's move on, and something we've probably all uttered at some point, like, oh, you're just like your mother,
No.
or you're just like your father.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Or mainly, let me change the order of that. You're just like your father/mother.
Yeah. So what we're getting involved in here is this negative downward comparison. We're saying you're doing this and it's just like them. And we know, science tells us that the best way to make somebody feel awful about themselves is to get them to compare themselves to others and to put themselves into competition or opposition to somebody else. So when we say you're just like your mum, they know that we're comparing a negative trait that they've just exhibited to a negative trait of their mum or their dad or their auntie or their uncle or their grandparents, whoever it is. And it makes them feel absolutely, just
not
gross,
good about
really.
themselves.
Not good about
what should we
themselves,
say
yeah.
instead?
Yeah, I think it's much more useful to say something to them like, wow, this is really challenging for you. This is really difficult. You're really struggling with this. Again, it's kind of that validation where we're saying, yeah, I get it. It's hard. And we're letting them know that we can see that the struggle's real.
I didn't know that's how you spelled erg. I've never seen it written before. Now, what about this? Because I said so. So do this. Why? Because I said so. You're saying that's not good.
Because teenagers especially, they love to argue with you, and you could argue for days. Sometimes you've just got to go, because I said so.
Because you're like your father.
Sometimes we've just got to say this stuff, but usually when we say because I said so, what we're doing is we're dismissing them. We're running on a power trip. We're saying it's my way or the highway, it's my house, it's my rules. And what the evidence shows is that people react, they protest, they resist any kind of force, control or manipulation. So it's much more useful for us, instead of saying because I said so, we say, well, there is a reason that I asked you to change the toilet roll holder once it's empty, and the reason is because it could lead to an embarrassing situation for you or for others, maybe a visitor to our home, if we don't change it. Or, you know, wet towels, they get mildewy, they make the room smell. Okay. And by providing people with an explanation, they're much more likely to go along with it.
Okay, moving on to the next one. I was lousy at that. So you might be talking about maths. They're struggling with maths. And you go, that's okay, I was bad at maths too. What's wrong with that?
What that does is it promotes victimhood. It's like, oh, my mum was hopeless at this. Yeah, I'm hopeless at it as well. Or we're Scottish and so we're tight with money, or we're whatever. I can't remember. It might be we're hot-tempered. We've got red hair and we're hot-tempered, and so we start to blame these externalities on the reality of what's going on. It's so much better to say to our kids, if you really work hard at this, it's amazing what you can do. I know maths can be tough, but let's work at it.
All right.
It's amazing what we can do when we try.
Now, finally, what a stupid thing to do. What about that?
Just don't say anything.
What if it was stupid behaviour, though?
Well, if it's stupid behaviour, what we've got to remember, Larry, is that it seems stupid to us because we're 30 years older than our kids and we've got so much more experience and wisdom. We know so much more. How much better is it, though, to recognise that every time somebody does something, even though we don't necessarily understand it, there's a reason for it in their mind. It made sense to them. I think we should become curious. We should not get cranky, but try to understand where they're coming from. And if we can't help ourselves, we need to bite our tongue. Just say no.
Here we go. Here we go.
It's something really harm that they've done. And I'm not talking about a bad math score. It's something that could be potentially dangerous to them.
Yeah.
Say nothing?
Have you ever done something really stupid, Kylie, and had that?
Oh, you should ask me that,
love
Justin.
Say,
I'm talking teenagers.
You do that? Yeah. But the same thing. As soon as you start saying, "What were you thinking?" to a teenager, they say, "I don't know." And they actually stop thinking. Usually they've learnt their lesson. Wait till you're out of the moment. Just stay calm, stay quiet, and then once the moment's passed...
Justin, we are right out of time.
Okay.
Kylie, we'll look forward to bullying you on social media about this after the show.
We'll talk about it later, Kylie.
Yeah. Listen, why doesn't Kylie give you a call? Because she's a bit twisted with that say nothing thing. I can tell because the hand went up like that.
You can understand. Very difficult for a parent if they think their teenager has done something which is endangering them or others.
Or their carpet.
To say, or their carpet. Yes, I forgot about that. To say nothing.
Kylie, I got to tell you, I've suggested what the best thing is to do. I'll leave it with you.
Right, Justin, always lovely to speak to you. I speak on behalf of myself, of course, and good to chat, mate.
He's saying nothing back to me.
Nothing at all.
Yes.
He's saying nothing. It's very...
I'm with you, Justin. Just keep looking forward and breathe.